Let's bring in Chris Haynes, been a busy guy covering the NBA Finals for Bleacher Report and TNT sideline reporter. If I didn't watch the game last night, Chris, how would you describe it?
You know what, DP? Actually, I was a little bit surprised by the turnout of the fan base of the Miami Heat. They're not known to be some of the most passionate, on-time fans. And so I was interested in seeing how they were going to show up. And they actually showed up for the first quarter. They were there in their seats for tip. So they were punctual. It didn't help.
Wait, that doesn't sound like the Sacramento Kings of the early 2000s when it comes to a home court advantage. Hey, how was the crowd last night? They were punctual.
Yeah, they were punctual. And DP, one thing, DP, that I discovered in attending a Miami Heat game, they have an actual club in the arena. Like, there's an actual club where I'm talking about VIP tables, DJ, the whole club atmosphere. They have it in the arena. And I remember I ventured over there one time, and there was a bunch of NBA players who had their VIP booths, had their crew, their people with them, getting bottle service. So I'm like, this is why fans don't show up early for games. This is why they're here clubbing. It's unlike any other place.
That's part of the Heat culture, right? I keep being told I'm force-fed Heat culture. I don't know what the culture was last night, other than how about somebody stop the Joker and Jamal Murray? We shouldn't be surprised with what we're seeing. I was a little more surprised with Jamal Murray. It felt like he knew he needed to step up a little bit more, and he certainly did. But I'm curious about Jimmy Butler. We haven't had that, Jimmy Buckets here. It hadn't been a great performance so far in the NBA Finals. There's something going on that we don't know about?
I don't think so, DP. I think, and I'm giving credit to you about Jamal Murray and feeling like he had to step up. Going into that game 3, that was the talk in the locker room. And when I was talking to guys, they were telling me Jamal Murray is like kind of salivating off of the opportunity to go out there and play well, not just play well because of the NBA Finals, but because Jimmy Butler has switched on to him now. And so game 2, everybody felt like maybe Jimmy was going to neutralize Jamal, and that simply wasn't the case. He was still able to get his shot off cleanly and with rhythm. But now you talk about Jimmy Butler. Yeah, he hasn't had those big breakout games that we've seen him have in previous rounds. I don't know if it's defensively what the Nuggets are doing. They're switching everything. Jimmy is getting the switches that he wants. Aaron Gordon will start off on him. Then he'll get that screen to get Jamal Murray on him. And then he's getting the shots. And, a lot of teams talk about the Denver Nuggets like they don't have rim protection. And so you would think that it would be a little bit more easier to get to the basket, but that just hasn't been the case. I mean, Denver Nuggets are a really good defensively sound team, and that's why they're comfortable switching from 1 to 4. Jimmy just hasn't been able to get off. I haven't heard any intel as far as if he's, dealing with anything, but he's getting his shots there. He's getting his shots off. They're just not falling with the consistency that we've seen in the previous rounds.
I know I'm getting ahead of myself, and I shouldn't do this, but if Joker wins the title, let's say he's Finals MVP, now all of a sudden we're going to start with the conversation about him compared to other great centers. So he goes into a new category. He's going to go into a category maybe with Akeem and David Robinson and Patrick Ewing, where, he's not Shaq, but 2 MVPs, winning a championship, and he's having one of the greatest finals postseason performances in history. Do you think it'll be fair if they win, that all of a sudden now we start a different conversation with him?
No, for sure. I definitely think he's worthy of that. I mean, 2 MVPs already. I mean, the guy is unstoppable. There's nobody that can stop him. He doesn't get rattled. You're not going to speed him up because I don't think he can be sped up. but he's just unstoppable. I mean, and just the awkward shots that he takes. And when he takes it, guys feel like, yeah, I forced him into a bad shot. But no, like his shots are just ugly. He's comfortable taking that. That's one thing Anthony Davis told me in last round. A lot of shots he would shoot with the clock expiring, and he would just get it off in back of his head, and they feel like that's a good shot. No, I mean, feel like that's a bad shot. Well, it's a good shot for him. And so, no, I definitely think he's worthy to be in that category of some of the best big men we've seen in this league. And, footwork, I don't think he gets enough credit for the footwork. His footwork is probably on par with Hakeem Olajuwon. And I think Hakeem Olajuwon had the best footwork as a big man that we've ever seen. Joker is right there. And then just what he can just get his shot off without using much athleticism. And, you know, he's one of the most talented guys we've seen in this league. So no doubt, I think he's deservingly so should be in that category if he is to win the championship.
Chris Haynes, TNT sideline reporter, Bleacher Report, NBA insider. Yesterday you had a report on Chris Paul's future. Now, has he been released or is he potentially going to be released? Because I wasn't quite sure exactly what the headline was.
Yeah, so Chris Paul and his representation were contacted yesterday, and I received word that they were informed that the Suns intend to waive him before his salary is guaranteed. Now, the Suns want to put out that basically there are still options. There are still other things that they're considering. A trade is a possibility if they can trade him before that June 28th deadline. But Chris Paul and his representation were under the impression after that phone call that he was being waived, which will make him one of the top free agents this summer. And, you know, that's something he's looking forward to. I can tell you he's looking forward to seeing what's next in store for him. I was told he plans to play for several more years, believes he can still do this at a high level. And I think the stats will still dictate that. And, you know, he just wants to get this situation resolved and get it finalized so he can try to figure out the next steps.
All right. I know going back to Los Angeles, more likely that the Clippers would welcome him or the Lakers would welcome him if you were choosing between those two.
Yeah. If you're choosing between those two, obviously it's still pretty early right now. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. But just if I'm just looking at the rosters, I think the Clippers are going to really consider re-signing Russell Westbrook. So it probably wouldn't make much sense over there. The Lakers, you know, they acquired D'Angelo Russell in the mid-season. That didn't work out really well, so it's unknown what they're going to do with him. But I think if you're minimizing it just to those two teams, it probably make more sense with the Lakers.
I know that you've reported on Damian Lillard and what could happen. They have the number 3 pick in the draft, and you know this is Portland at a crossroads. Are you going to go young and invest in the younger players? You got 2 weeks to decide this. Is Dame Lillard traded before NBA draft night?
You know, I speak with Dame pretty frequently about basketball, about life in general. But, you know, we talk about, he will agree that this is kind of like a crossroads situation right here. The Portland Trailblazers have the number 3 pick. Damian Lillard wants to win. He wants to win now. He wants to compete for a title. I don't think he believes that taking that pick and keeping it is going to do them any service in the now. So I think, you know, what the Portland Trailblazers decide to do with that pick will dictate.
Well, let's say they take Scoot Henderson. If you're Dame Lillard, do you want to stay?
If I'm Dame Lillard, based off of what he said, if they keep that pick, whether it's Scoot or anybody else, if they keep that pick, I think a serious conversation will be had about potentially parting ways.
All right. Who do you trade him to?
I think if he is traded, it'll be in the Eastern Conference. I mean, Dame went on record, and
I know.
You know, I spoke to him yesterday. I said, "Hey, you couldn't save that for your boy." Like you couldn't say that for your boy.
He could have given you a scoop there.
Yeah, no, he said the way he told me yesterday, he was like they put him on a spot where they said they eliminated other teams. He said that clip was not being played. They actually eliminated, or you can't say this team, you can't say this team, but between these 3 or 4 teams, which teams make sense? He said, so that's how he answered it. And he said that part was actually cut off.
He doesn't fold under pressure. not on the court. Now all of a sudden they're saying, all right, you got to choose between these teams. Okay. Yeah. He could say, I'm with the Blazers. I'm with the Blazers.
He could have, but I think that sheds light
I
on.
could see the Nets. I could because he could be the star there. Although, I mean, I don't know how that front office is, the ownership. It's dysfunctional, but by comparison to the Knicks, we're always talking about the Knicks being dysfunctional. I know Miami Heat, he's friends with Bam Adebayo, but let's say, I'll make you GM. Where are you sending him to? If you have to.
If I have to, I would think if it gets to that point, they would consult with Dame because, Dame's been there 10 years, been a model citizen, represented that city and that organization with class all throughout. I think they will try to get him where he wants to go in the East. That is, I do not see an envision, and I do not envision a possibility that he would be traded to a Western Conference team.
What if we did this, though, Chris? What if I'm the Boston Celtics and I sign? No.
He's not doing Boston.
He doesn't want any part of Boston. Okay. All right.
I don't see that.
Okay, so you can confidently report that Dame would not want to go to Boston. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I think that's pretty safe to say.
Yeah, I was thinking Jaylen Brown and maybe something to Portland, and then you get Dame Lillard. But, all right, Nets, Heat, anybody else that'll be on that list, do you think that he would want to go to? And will he dictate where he wants to go, or does Portland dictate if it comes to that?
I think he will have a large part. I think they respect him enough for what he's done for that organization to send him to plays. Yeah, okay. That he would. But Knicks, he mentioned it. He mentioned it on air. Nets, Miami, and possibly, I don't know, Philly, but they don't have what it takes. So I'll leave it at the Nets in Miami.
All right. How many games does this series go?
You know what, DP? I was hoping to see a really good series. Denver Nuggets are just too talented. It takes an awful lot for the Miami Heat to string together wins. They play with talent-wise, they're just not on par with the Nuggets, but they play so hard and they stay in it. They're well coached. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets close it out in 5.
Whoa. Okay. Gentleman's sweep there. All right.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right. Hey, great to talk to you as always.
Anytime, DP.
Thank you. Thank you. That's Chris Haynes, TNT sideline reporter, Bleacher Report, NBA insider, and, he's always on the phone. Probably on the phone to Chris Paul this morning. Probably on the phone with Dame Lillard later on today. I like that.